Okay, so we'll start. So today we're going to start the Halachot, the laws of Hametzarim, which is the 3 weeks. So I thought we can start first to understand, well, what is the 3 weeks? So the 3 weeks, Hametzarim, is 3 weeks between the dates of Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, which was this past Sunday, and it goes until Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, which is going to be in another 3 Sundays from last Sunday, so 3 weeks from last Sunday. What happened on these days? So the Gemara, the Talmud, in Masechet Ta'anit brings down that there were 5 things that happened on Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, on the 17th of Tammuz, and 5 things that happened on the 9th of Av. So what are these 5 things? So the Talmud says on the 17th of Tammuz, what happened? Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Mount Sinai after receiving the tabernacle, so the tablets, and he saw that the Jews were worshiping the golden calf, and he destroyed the tablets. So that was the first big tragedy that happened on the 17th of Tammuz. The second thing was that it was during the final siege on Jerusalem, the Korban Tamid stopped. They weren't able to bring more Korban Tamid because during the siege they ran out of animals, and they weren't able to bring it anymore. The third thing was that the wall of Jerusalem was breached. The fourth, on the 17th of Tammuz, was a man, Apostamos, who was an evil king. He burnt a Sefer Torah. He actually burned a lot of Sefer Torah. And then the last thing was that an idol was erected in the sanctuary in the Beit HaMikdash. So those are the 5 things that happened on Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, on the 17th of Tammuz. And then you had another 5 things that happened on the 9th of Av. What were those 5 things? The first thing was that the spies in the desert, Jews of the what was at the land, and they saw that, they reported all of these lies, and the Jews cried that night, and that night was the 9th of Av. Second thing was the first Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. The third thing is the second Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. The fourth thing is that the city of Bitar had tens of thousands of Jews, and they all died. And the was that the grounds of the Beit HaMikdash was plowed, and that was the kind of like the seal to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. So I was gonna, not just an introduction kind of what it is. These 3 weeks are known to be the 3 weeks of it progressively gets stricter as we get towards the 9th of Av. And so we start this week. We started the 3 weeks, and we just have to understand that the whole purpose for all of this is mainly that we're mourning over the destruction of the temples, and what that has implications for us. So just to understand what exactly it is that we're crying about, there was the story that Nebuchadnezzar, when he destroyed the Beit HaMikdash, the first temple, he brought Plato, which is a Greek philosopher, and to show the victory that he did. And so now Plato is coming to Jerusalem, and he sees Yirmiyah, the prophet, crying at the site of the Beit HaMikdash. So Plato comes to him. He says, "You're the wisest of all the Jews. You're supposed to be the smartest person in the Jewish nation. Why are you crying? Smart people don't cry. Smart people know that what happened in the past happened in the past. What are you gonna cry about it for?" So Yirmiyah said, you're a smart guy, right? I'm sure there's questions you have that weren't answered. And Plato said, yeah, I have a lot of questions and no one could answer them, and I can't even answer them. So Yirmiyah said, ask any question you want, I can answer it for you. So Plato says, okay. He gives him the hardest question in the world. He says, what is the purpose of human existence? And Yirmiyah gives him the answer. Plato's shocked. He goes, what? How do you know this? He gives him another question. Yirmiyah gives him another answer. They go back and forth 30 minutes, an hour goes by, and Yirmiyah's answering all of his questions that he thought were impossible questions. Suddenly Plato gets scared. He goes, you can't be a human being. You have to be an angel. You have to be some higher existence. There's no way you know all this stuff. Yirmiyah says, you want to know my secret, how I know all of this stuff? He says, you see these wooden bricks that you said, what's the point of crying for it? All of this wooden bricks, that's where I got all my knowledge from. All of my knowledge isn't because I learned it from books and thought about it like you may have done. Everything I got was from Hashem, and that was brought into this Beit HaMikdash, and now I lost it. There's no more Beit HaMikdash, and that's why I cry. And there's only one question I didn't answer. The first question you asked me. The first question was, why are you crying? What it was in the past is in the past. That's a question you can't understand, because once you understand what the Beit HaMikdash was, then you can understand why I'm crying. But because you never saw what the Beit HaMikdash was, you'll never understand. And so that's it says that on Tisha B'Av we have to mourn. But the famous question is, what are we mourning? Are we mourning the destruction of the Jewish people or not? Because the Jewish people are still around. Are we mourning the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash? Yeah, but that was a physical thing. We usually don't mourn physical things, and even if you do, you will see that usually in the Jewish religion, it takes let's say someone's parents pass away, you give them a year. After a year, they tell them start to get over it, start to live life. You remember, things keep going, moving forward. So the question is, what are we mourning? And I saw one answer. It says what we're mourning is we're mourning ourselves. We're mourning that we're not able to reach a higher level because of the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. You see, back when the Beit HaMikdash was around, they would come to the Beit HaMikdash, they would offer their sacrifices, and just by being there, automatically, they were on a higher spiritual level. They would understand, would feel things, they would be closer to Hashem, to God, than we could ever even imagine, because we're not, now that's not there. And so when we're told to mourn, really we should be mourning that we aren't able to reach that higher level that we were that we should have been able to. And so that's one of the main things we have to understand in these 3 weeks. We have to take a moment to sit down and understand. It says Dash isn't built up. It's because we didn't build it. Each of us have a say in the matter. And so if it's not built, it's because ourselves. You can't blame it on someone else and say, oh, because he's he's evil, or he doesn't pray, or he doesn't put it on his tefillin, or she doesn't light the candles, or she speaks Lashon Hara. No, we have to look at ourselves and we say, what did I do wrong this year that I can work on and get better? So we're going to start the Halachot now for the Ben Hametzarim. We have to just have in mind that we're coming to this 3 weeks. They say that the 3 weeks when the Mashiach comes, B'ezrat Hashem, that it's going to flip in these 2 days. The 17th of Tammuz and the and the 9th of Av will be holidays. There'll be holidays, and then the 3 weeks in between will be like Chol HaMoed. It'll be like the in between, for example, like on Pesach or on Sukkot. And all these 3 weeks will be days of happiness and and singing and joy. But right now, we're waiting for that time to come, and so we entered this period called the Hametzarim, which literally translates to between the boundaries. It comes from the verse in Echa, which is the was written by Yirmiyah. That's the Megillah. That's the what we read on the 9th of Av. It says Kol Rodefeha Hasiguha Ben Hametzarim, which translates to all those who chased her managed to catch up to her between the boundaries. And our sages explain that in this time, all of our enemies who caught up to us, who are trying to get us, this is their time to have extra strength over us. Because again, this time right now, until the Mashiach comes, they have a stronger power over the Jews in these 3 weeks. The Gemara actually says, and we'll see one of the things is, it says when you enter Av, the month of Av, you should postpone certain things. For example, if you have a court case to do, you should push out the court case until after Av, because Av is not a lucky month for the Jews right now. And so between these 3 weeks, we read 3 haftarot after on Shabbat, and then they correspond to some tragedies or some of the prophecies that relate to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. So some halachot, first thing is they bring down is you have to be very careful on how you treat your children and your students. You want to make sure that you don't hit them. It says hitting them in this month can be detrimental, be very bad. So it says parents must refrain from striking their children because in this time there's increased danger. And so we want to stay away from anything that can possibly lead to something bad. So you can definitely reprimand them, tell them not to, but try not to hit them, especially since nowadays people don't really like that anyway. Another thing is some poskim wrote that one must refrain from swimming in rivers or in the sea during Ben Hametzarim. So if someone wants to go to the ocean or to the beach during these 3 weeks, better not to. Technically, if it's a pool or it's something that's more secure, you can. But these times are very very trying times for the Jews. And so the common custom is to not to swim in the pool or in the lake, in the sea. You'll hear in this time, usually, especially in these 3 weeks, not on anyone else and not on anyone from Israel. There's a lot of drownings that happen in these 3 weeks. So it's our duty to make sure that we keep ourselves proper. It says that we have to b'chai b'hem, the mitzvot. You have to be alive to do them. So we take emergency and we try not to go swimming, especially in places that are more dangerous, like rivers or oceans or seas. Of course, if it's a pool and especially for children, maybe you can be more lenient. But at the end of the day, we want to be more. We want to be strict with some of these things, especially during now. Let me see. So the common custom for the Sephardim is that we're allowed to do weddings until the Rosh Chodesh Av. The Ashkenazim say no weddings from the. So it is forbidden to dance during the period of Ben Hametzarim, even without any musical accompaniment. So let's say you're happy, you got something, and you wanted to dance. No, you can't dance during these 3 weeks. It's not allowed, especially because the dancing you usually show joy, and these times aren't times for joy. And he just brings down over here that, of course, we're talking separately, men dancing by themselves or women dancing by themselves, but men and women dancing together is never allowed, not at weddings, not at anything, at bar mitzvahs, not at, it should never be allowed. And it's a very big sin, even during the whole year, not just the 3 weeks. But we're talking specifically in the 3 weeks when it's
only at the Shabbat. This is I can the happy, no, only the Shabbat, not the other days.
So actually, one of the halachot on Shabbat is you're not allowed to dance. So one day we'll probably get to that halacha in the halachot of Shabbat. But one of the halachot in Shabbat is you can't dance. Why can't you dance? Because they say when you dance, you might start to get happy, and someone might come and try to play an instrument. And an instrument you can't play on Shabbat. So they say you don't want to dance so that you don't play an instrument. Okay? So we'll one day, Bezrat Hashem, we'll get to that in the halachot of Shabbat. But on Shabbat, technically you're not allowed to dance. Even if you're happy, try not to dance because someone might come and pull out a guitar or something. I don't know. So, but we'll see in a second because we're gonna talk about music. Music you can listen to during the 3 weeks also. So if someone wants to listen to music, not allowed to. Now there's certain times that you are allowed to listen to music. So for example, if there's a circumcision, a brit milah, or a pidyon ben, or like we said, if there's a wedding, someone does a wedding, then you can play music at these places. Again, at the wedding, it's a difficulty. You can dance, but they try to keep the dancing to a minimum because it's ben Hametzarim. It's 3 weeks. Same thing with a bar mitzvah. So it's one of those things that it's difficult. But even though that it's you're not allowed to listen to music, you can definitely sing praises to Hashem. So let's say you get happy on Shabbat, for example, you're allowed to sing and you're allowed to do the normal songs that you usually do on Shabbat because you're praising Hashem, and that's allowed even if, for example, this year the 9th of Av falls on Shabbat. So even on the 9th of Av, which is Shabbat, you're still allowed to sing and praise Hashem because that's something that we should be striving to do. So they give the halacha gives a heter, it gives a leniency to someone who suffers from depression or anxiety. If they get sad very easily or they need music, then we say, okay, you can listen to music. But if not, like majority of people aren't sad or depressed, then we don't listen to music. It says same thing if a woman lives alone and she's lonely and she can get depressed very easily, we let her also listen to music. But again, majority of the people we're not allowed to listen to music. If someone plays, he's a musician, that's what he does for a living. He makes music or he plays music. He's allowed to be hired for non-Jews to play, but he can't be hired by Jews. So if a Jew says, "Come play at my birthday party," he has to say no, even if he's going to lose money on that. He should know that Hashem is going to pay him in the long run. If someone's a music teacher, they teach music, for example, how to play the piano or this, they should try not to. They can do it up until Rosh Chodesh Av, but during the 9 days from Rosh Chodesh Av they should try not to do it unless they're going to lose a lot of money from this, and they're not going to be able to eat food. Then we give them a heter, we give them the permission to do so. But if they can do without the money, better to not do it. So during the 3 weeks, the Ashkenazim have the custom not to get haircuts. So starting from last summer, the Ashkenazim say no haircuts until after Tisha B'Av. The Sephardis, though, we don't have that halacha. We say that you can get your up until the start of up until the Shabbat Chazon, which is the Shabbat before Tisha B'Av. So it says the restrictions against haircuts applies only during the days after Shabbat Chazon until Tisha B'Av. So this is usually referred to as Shvua Shel Chalbo. It's the week of. This year we don't have that, since this year, according to Sephardim, it's a Saturday and we push it out till Sunday. So there's no really, you have Saturday night till Sunday, but that's Tisha B'Av anyway. So we don't have any Shavua Shel Chalbo. And so this year there's no worries about haircuts. The question is now, what about we go to Ashkenaz shul, so can I get a haircut and it being maybe marita, and they might look at me and say, wait a second, why are you getting a haircut? You're not allowed to. So it's similar to a Sephardi yeshiva student that attends a Ashkenazi yeshiva. So over there we say that that even though the majority of the students there are Ashkenazim, majority of the people here are Ashkenazim, they nevertheless may shave their beards and cut their hair during Ben Hametzarim, because we're not saying that he's doing something to go against the crowd. This is his minhag. This is our minhag. This is Sephardi minhag, and we're allowed to. So shaving, cutting hair, we're allowed to until the week of Tisha B'Av, which this year there is none. The same thing is with children. So the children also, they can get their haircut until the Shabbat before Tisha B'Av. After that, they shouldn't. Again, this year it's not applicable. Women and girls, however, they can get their haircuts even during the week of, and there's no problem, because we want to make sure that they look nice for their husbands, or if she's looking for a potential husband, we don't want her to not get her haircut in that manner. So that's the majority of the 3 week the 3 weeks up until the Rosh Chodesh Av. From Rosh Chodesh Av, which we consider the 9 days, it starts to get a little bit more stricter. Okay, so that, like I said earlier, that one of the things we said is that in the month of Av, we decrease in joyful activities. So we try not to do trips, or we try not to go on vacations until after the 10th of Av. So if someone has a court hearing, or he has a case or a trial, or a surgery, chas v'shalom, or any of these kind of treatments that he's able to push out, he should push it out until after the 10th of Av, preferably after the 15th of Av. We'll see in a couple of weeks. The 15th of Av is specifically it's a good day, and so that's only if it's possible. But if it's not possible, for example, if a surgery is required, and if he doesn't do it, chas v'shalom, the person it can be fatal. So of course we say do it when you can. The faster the better. But if this is something that you can push it off until after the 10th of Av, and Hashem is promising you more luck with the either the trial or the surgery. Like we said, that starting the Rosh Chodesh Av, weddings and engagements are forbidden. But if someone has a wedding, let's say after the 9 days, he can at least he can start buying some of the things for the wedding, but you should refrain from purchasing expensive jewelry, or from starting to create the chuppah, or any of the wedding canopies, or any of the structures. Try to push that until after the 9 days. But if there's no time to do it before, then you can do as much as you can. One should refrain from decorating one's house during the 9 days. and therefore one may not plaster and paint it. But if you're doing it for the shul is something else. You're allowed to redecorate, you can build, you can do whatever you need for the shul, but not for one's house. If someone is a professional painter and he needs to paint homes during the 9 days, he should just try and make sure that he's working for non-Jews rather than Jews. If someone finds furniture on a serious sale, and he knows that he's not going to be able to get it afterwards, there's room for leniency, but you should try not to buy any furniture. Also, jewelry. Try staying away from jewelry during these 9 days. Again, we try to not try to put ourselves in these happy moods, and jewelry usually is happy for especially women. So we try not to buy that. Unless there's a big deal where it's, you can't find that after the 9 days, then there's room for leniency. Same thing with a car. Try not to buy a car, but if the opportunity to buy one right now is at a very good deal and you can't do it afterwards, of course, you're able to. We try not to purchase as much as we need, but with Torah books or Sifrei Kodesh, things like that they're supposed to be to learn from, or to more Jewish stuff, that you can purchase as much as you want, whenever you want, even during the 9 days. Same thing if it's a bookshelf, for example, for the books that you bought, that you can buy. Even though we said furniture, try not to buy. But if it's something for your Sifrei Kodesh, for your books, then it's fine. So another one of the big halachot during the 9 days specifically is we try not to stay away from meat and wine. So during the 9 days, except for Shabbat, we don't eat meat. So that's meat, and that's also chicken. So Rosh Chodesh and Shabbat, you can eat meat and chicken, but during the week or whatever, no meat and chicken. The Yemenites have the custom to eat meat and chicken. They never took upon themselves this custom, but unfortunately, I'm not Yemenite, and a lot of people aren't Yemenite. So we have to take the custom upon ourselves to not eat meat during these 9 days. Like I said, that's chicken and meat. And so starting from the second day of Av, which is after Rosh Chodesh, whatever is during the week, you can't eat meat and chicken, but on Shabbat you can. Okay? Fish is allowed. Fish is not considered meat. So if you want to eat fish during the 9 days, you're more than welcome to. If something was cooked with meat, for example, let's say you had a chamin, you had a cholent, a stew, and you had a piece of meat in there, but you ate it all on Shabbat, and now you just have the rest of it. So technically, you're allowed to eat it, even though it has some of the flavor of the meat. You can eat it, but if you're able to stay away from it, stay away from it. But if it's going to go to waste, otherwise, we say that you can eat it, and it's not bad. The same thing with, let's say you cooked in a pot, you had meat cooked in the pot, and then you used that pot for rice. That's fine. You can eat the rice, even though you might have some of the taste. Soy products. Nowadays they have all these, imposters and different chicken nuggets, and even though they look like and they taste like meat, they aren't meat. So these things are allowed, so you can eat them. So if you're missing meat and you want to eat a nice juicy burger, you can get one of those soy or vegan burgers, and you can eat it, and there's no problem. Say someone forgot about this. He made a nice plate of meat. He's about to eat it. He says the bracha, Baruch Ata Hashem she'akol niya bidbaro, and then he says, "Oh shoot, wait a second, it's the 9 days. I'm not allowed to eat meat." So he says if he didn't interrupt the blessing, he should take a little taste from the meat. So he didn't make a bracha lebatala, he didn't make a false blessing, and then he should put the rest aside. But eating a little bit isn't going to bring him a lot of joy, so that we're allowed. That's only if he accidentally said the bracha. So the same thing is with wine. You can't drink wine during the 9 days. And so the question is, the biggest question, I guess, is for this is Havdalah, right? So technically it's not Shabbat. Shabbat you're allowed to drink wine, no problem. But during Havdalah is after Shabbat. So now you do Havdalah. Are you allowed to drink the water? So this is a machloket, the Sephardim and the Ashkenazim. The Ashkenazim don't drink the wine. They give it to a small child and let him drink it. But the Sephardim, we say that even though we don't drink wine during the 9 days, you can drink the wine of the Havdalah, and you don't have to drink just a little bit. You can drink the whole thing if you need to. There's no problem with that. Like we said on Shabbat, no issues. You can eat and drink as much meat and as much wine as you want. They said that even the third meal, the Sudah Shlishit, that they can make it as grand as the feast that Shlomo HaMelech used to have, which was a huge, with meat and chicken and wine and this and everything, all the desserts. No problem, because on Shabbat it's separate from the whole week. So even though it's a week of sadness, come Shabbat, you can eat meat, drink wine, be happy because it's Shabbat. And they say it's actually forbidden to not eat meat and drink wine on Shabbat. So if someone thinks he's being righteous, and he said, why, we're on the 9 days, I can't eat or drink, I can't eat meat or drink wine. He says, no, this Shabbat, I'm going to say no because of the 9 days, because it's almost Tisha B'Av. Says that person is doing a avera, is doing a sin, because he should be happy. He should be eating meat and drinking wine on Shabbat, and especially from the third meal. This year it's going to be weird because it's also Tisha B'Av, but we also have to eat and drink and be happy on Shabbat. And so let's say right now someone's making the food, and they want to taste on Friday, before, or on Thursday, whatever it is, to see if how the flavor tastes. So one may taste the meat only after midday on Friday, and one may not taste more than a rabi'it of the food. So he can't taste more than it's around, I think they say 83 grams, something like that. So if someone is making meat and he wants to taste if it tastes good, make sure you make that meat on Friday after midday, which I think nowadays is like 1:30, and then he can taste a little bit just to make sure that it's good. So some people say that there's a basis to allow eating leftover meat on Shabbat. So let's say you had meat on Shabbat that you didn't get to finish, and now you want to eat it during the week. But we don't like to take advantage of these halachot, and if the food isn't going to go bad, it's better not to eat the meat. This is something that everyone is together. Ashkenazim, Sephardim, everyone. We don't eat meat during this time. But if he wants to eat it specifically for the Malava Malka, he can, if it's going to go bad otherwise. Even if one intends to eat the extra food in the Malava Malka meal, it is forbidden. So it's better not to take advantage of these halachot, better not to eat meat and drink wine after Shabbat, even if it was leftovers. People who are sick or little kids who need the meat to grow and to be healthy, they're allowed to. Same thing for a woman who's pregnant and maybe needs them to eat the meat in order to have more iron and have more health, then they're allowed to. Also, if someone is recovering from an illness, he's Baruch Hashem, he's better now, but he's recovering from it. He's also allowed to eat meat if it's going to help him get stronger. But once a child has reached 12 years old, or for a girl 11 years old, then we try to tell them not to eat meat, because at that age we already assume that they're mostly grown. So the one exception to eating the meat is that you're allowed to eat meat for a Sudamizvah. So if it was a Sudamizvah, which we'll bring in a second, what exactly is Sudamizvah, that you're allowed to eat meat. So now the question is, what is a Sudamizvah? So there are a couple of things. For example, a brit milah, right? A brit milah, if they serve meat, you can eat the meat there. But if it was a postponed brit, a circumcision, for example, the kid wasn't well and he wasn't able to get circumcised on the 8th day, and so they had to wait until he got better, and then they got better, and he can do the brit milah. It's in these 9 days. They shouldn't serve meat during those times, even though that's the time for the brit milah, and he should get circumcised on that day. They should not eat meat, because technically it's already past the brit milah, it's past the circumcision date. For a boy's bar mitzvah, at a boy's bar mitzvah, the meal served to celebrate the occasion is considered a celebration of a mitzvah, and the participants are able to eat meat and drink wine. If it's his birthday is on the 8th of Av, which is the day before the 9th of Av, they should postpone the celebration until after. We'll see in a second, and maybe next week, that there are certain strictness that stringencies that we apply to the day before Tisha B'Av, more so than the rest of the 9 days. Same thing if someone finishes a Gemara, a tractate of the Talmud, and they do a celebration, that is grounds to eat the meat. But that's only if he finished it during the 9 days. If he, made it slower and he started, going slow towards the end, so he can wait until he gets to the 9 days, then we say, no, you can't do that. You can't start making different excuses or try to do something in order to eat meat. At the end of the day, I always say it's 9 days, and you have Shabbat, at least one Shabbat. This year we have 2 Shabbatot in between. So really, if you think about it, you have the 2nd, the 4th, I think, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. You have 7 days, basically, right? 7 days, maybe 6 days of no meat. I think 6 days of no meat is doable. I don't know. Some people disagree with me, but a lot of these. I remember when I was in Orlando, every day there was another person finishing a tractate of the Talmud, and this one was doing this celebration. So in the end, out of those 6 days, 5 of them you're eating meat, because they're different celebrations. So it's what did you get? These are times not specifically to be in mourning, and we take away from that, from not eating meat and drinking wine, and so we shouldn't try to cut the corners and try to eat meat on purpose. I don't get it. I think it's the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. It tells you not to eat meat, so now you have to eat meat. Okay. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll conquer the Yetzer Hara this year. So that's the idea of eating meat. So from beginning of Rosh Chodesh Av, not only we talked about furniture, but we should also start refrain from purchasing new clothes or shoes. So if someone, trying not to go to Burlington or any of these shops, but starting from Rosh Chodesh, we try not to buy clothes, we try not to buy new shoes, even if someone doesn't plan to wear them until after Tisha B'Av. He finds a nice suit, and he says, "Wow, this is a great suit." Don't buy it until after Tisha B'Av. We'll see. One of the restrictions on Tisha B'Av is you can't wear leather. Okay, so if someone realizes he doesn't have shoes for Tisha B'Av because he can't wear leather, then he's allowed to buy shoes specifically for Tisha B'Av, because he knows that otherwise he'll be walking in his socks, which is also not allowed. So better that he go buy shoes for Tisha B'Av than go basically barefoot. Like we said, during the 9 days, during the week of Tisha B'Av, or the 9 days, we get to a point where it gets more strict, and that's called the Shavua Shel Chalbo. This year we don't have, but let's say if Tisha B'Av was on Tuesday or Thursday, then from Saturday night until Thursday, that would be the Shavua, the week of Tisha B'Av, and there's even more strict stringencies. So one of the stringencies for that is we can't get haircuts or shave during that week. And he just brings here, if the fast is on Sunday, like it is this year, there is no week of. Therefore, it is permissible to cut one's hair through the entire week, and certainly during the week, the following week after the fast. So this year, for example, even though the 9th is Shabbat, on Friday you can shave or get a haircut, and there's no issue for Sfardis. Ashkenazim, on the other hand, they're not allowed to. Because of that, we try not to. Specifically on the Friday before Shabbat Chazon, we try not to get a haircut or to shave, so we don't come into the 9th of Av looking all clean shaven and all nice. Because at the end of the day, again, we're trying to mourn something here. We're trying to mourn the Beit HaMikdash, and so we try not to look the fanciest. Like we said, cutting children's hair also is forbidden, but you can definitely cut your nails, your fingernails, or your toenails, and you're also allowed to brush your hair. This applies to men and women. So one of the Halachot also is that the week of Tisha B'Av, you can't do laundry. So for example, let's say you have clothes and bed sheets and all of that you need to get done. Make sure you do it the week before. Again, this year there's no issue. But let's say if Tisha B'Av was on a Thursday, then from Saturday night until Thursday, no laundry. Even if it's in an automatic washing machine, no laundry. On those years, again, when the 9th of Av is Shabbat, like this year, and the fast is postponed to Sunday, the preceding week does not have the status of Shavua Shel Chalbo, the week of Tisha B'Av, and therefore it is permissible to launder clothing throughout the week. So like this year, no issue. But if it was maybe next year, we'll see. B'ezrat Hashem, we won't have it next year. We'll have the Beit HaMikdash. But if we do have Tisha B'Av next year, then and it falls out on a Thursday, then the week of, no laundry. That applies to both adults and children's clothing. What if you have a baby that's 3 or younger, and they constantly dirty their clothes, and you don't have enough clothes for them to wear during the week, then you're allowed to do laundry for them only for what they need during that week. During the week of Tisha B'Av, you can't also, not only can you not launder your clothes, you can't do laundry, also you can't wear freshly laundered garments. So let's say someone he wants to wear a shirt that was straight out of the laundry, he cannot during that week. So they tell you to usually wear the clothes the week before. So let's say on Friday before Shabbat, you would put on all these different clothes that you want to wear during the week, and then you'll have it for next week. It doesn't have to be for long; it can be for 5-10 minutes, and then it's fine. In places where the weather is very hot in midsummer, like here, and people sweat a lot, making it necessary to change clothes often, the people should prepare several sets of clothes before Shabbat Chazon, which is the Shabbat before Tisha B'Av, to be worn during the following week. That is, a person can wear freshly laundered. That is no longer considered freshly laundered. So someone can wear a t-shirt for an hour or so, take it off, and say, okay, now this is for next week. Again, this year we don't have that problem, but in future years we might have that problem if we don't have the Beit HaMikdash. So the question is, can you do this on Shabbat? Let's say you remember in the middle of Shabbat that you didn't prepare clothes for the week. So technically you can't prepare it because then you'll be preparing for something after Shabbat. But you can change your clothes a lot on Shabbat. So let's say at the nighttime you wear one shirt, and in the morning you wear a different shirt, and then you go for a nap, wear a different shirt, and then you can play around with it that you're not intentionally preparing the clothes, but you're preparing the clothes kind of on the way, on the kind of like underhandedly. So technically, it should be permissible to wear freshly laundered undergarments and socks during the week of Tisha B'Av. The restriction against wearing freshly laundered clothes was not imposed for these undergarments. So if someone has undergarments or socks that they absorb a lot of the sweat, that technically you don't have to prepare. Nevertheless, it is proper to prepare sets of undergarments beforehand. So if you want to go above the letter of the law, then you can also do that. It doesn't. So we say we can also rely on leaving. Let's say someone didn't wear it, but it was on the floor. That's also considered as being worn, and you can wear it during the week of. You are allowed to iron clothes. So we said we're not allowed to do laundry, but you can iron clothes during the week of Tisha B'Av, as long as it's not freshly laundered. It is also permissible to shine or polish one's shoes before Shabbat for Shabbat. And of course, you're allowed to clean the house and wash the floors and wash the house. That's not, in fact, you have to. You don't want to have a dirty house, even though you might think that you're wearing quote unquote dirty clothes. Hashem actually wants you to live in a clean place because the house is like the temple, and so you want to make sure that your house is clean, just like we made sure that the temple was clean. So if someone wants to go around and say, "Oh, it's the 9 days I don't have to clean," you can tell him he's wrong. In fact, he has to clean, and he's doing a bigger sin of not cleaning. The last thing we'll talk about is bathing on Tisha B'Av. And then we'll talk maybe more next week about Tisha B'Av itself. So the week of Tisha B'Av, again, that we don't have this year, it is forbidden to bathe in hot water. So again, because we're trying to be mourn and be sad about the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, we limit ourselves to cold water during the week of Tisha B'Av. The Friday before, though, for if you're doing Tisha B'Av, and the Friday before the shower before Shabbat, you can use hot water and you can use shampoo and soap as usual. But the week of Tisha B'Av, no hot water. That means you can use cold water during Tisha B'Av. Nowadays, I guess it's not. Again, this year we don't have it, but I remember I think it was 2 years ago. We had the week of, and it's not that hard. You just go out, so you don't want a hot shower. If someone works outside and he comes home and he's sweaty and he wants a warm shower, you tell him sorry. You can only cold showers, but he can still take a cold shower. If he wants to go to the mikveh and the mikveh is hot, we say that he's allowed to, because the mikveh isn't he doesn't get pleasure from it. He just goes, dips, and he comes out. He's not chilling there. It's not a hot tub or anything. So he does what he needs to do and he comes out, and then he can take a cold shower if he wants, but not a hot shower. If they get too cold, they can get sick. So we're lenient with the children as well. So children also the week of can shower in warm water. Again, that's not this year. Same with someone who's sick or who's recovering from a sickness, because we're scared that they might get sick again. We allow them to have warm showers, warm baths. Again, that's not this year. Baruch Hashem, we don't have to worry about this year, and hopefully we don't have to worry about it next year either, because the Beit HaMikdash will be built. But those are those are the halachot of the week of. Any questions? No questions? Okay. If there are no questions, I just want to thank everyone. And Zad Hashem, we'll continue next week.